Howdy, all you collector car fans out there. This is once again Jason, the owner and founder of Southern Bush Motorsports. Well, I got a pretty good Tales from the Bush for you today. This is more of a collage of it was a folder that I found, and I don't remember a lot of these pictures, but I'll tell you right now, there was some pretty cool stuff in there. I know some of these cars that I bought, but a lot of this stuff I don't remember where it came from, but they're cool stuff, so I wanted to share it with you. Don't forget in the description there that I've got a link for a super thanks, which really helps out a lot. Contributing to the channel helps out keep me going. And also there's a Patreon page there. You know, I'd love to be able to stop going out that door every day and continue with this Tales from the Bush, because I literally have hundreds of thousands of pictures, and I'd love to be able to continue my dream with my book that I wrote, Tales from the Bush, and be able to get it out to everybody. And any contribution you can make would really help out. So a lot of these cars, like that 69 Charger just sitting there like that, it was a beautiful car. I can't remember, I remember the car, but I can't remember how I took these pictures. Some of these cars you're going to see are cars that were cars that were found in barns, and you're going to see a lot of cars that were found in restoration shops and all over the place. You know, that was a bit of a rough car right there, but it was pretty complete. Why does that steering wheel look weird? That can't be from the interior of that car. Well, like I said, I haven't seen these pictures in 15, 20 years. There's a 68 Charger. It looks like it's an RT car. And boy, that thing's that thing's a little rough. That's of an old Charger there too. It's a blue one. I can't remember where that one was from. Oh, that's a good. It looks like a 383. Looks like a Charger. Can't be quite sure. There was a nice Charger that I had sitting right there that I remember finding that car on a guy's property. He had a whole bunch of cars. Small restoration shop. This was another one of the cars that he had out there. I think that was a 70 Charger. Just stuff all over the place. Now we're getting into when I was out in the bush. I don't think that might have been like a 72 Barracuda. You know, I get a lot of comments about people, you know, where are these cars? Well, I didn't spend all this time and all this money and all this time away from home to just tell everybody where the cars are. And, you know, you're talking about this is quite a long time ago. I doubt these cars were even still there. They're probably still there, but, you know, sending me messages and asking me where the car is not really going to help much, because I don't remember. That's a 71 Cuda convertible. I don't remember if there was anything special about that car, but it was, you know, it was what it was. It was a Cuda convertible. I don't think it was a Barracuda convertible. I'm pretty sure it was a 71 Cuda convertible. Could have been anything. The back end of a 68 Charger, but look at how solid that car is. Quarters are good. The rear window's good. One of the biggest points about this video is that these cars are still out there. There's no question these cars are still out there. They're buried. They're tucked in people's garages. They're tucked everywhere, but they're still out there, and it's worth, you know, adventuring out. But if I was to tell somebody how I found cars the most was, don't look for that 69 Charger that's parked in somebody's front yard, because they're doing that just so you will stop and talk to them, just so they can say, no, it's not for sale. These cars are people stuck these cars way back behind a barn, way back behind a building, and that's where you got to look. If you're diehard and you're going to go look for cars, that's my advice to you, is just drive around. Go to a rural area in your area, you know, pick it a Sunday or whatever, go with your kid, go by yourself, pack a lunch, get your binoculars, have a map, and be able to mark where you're at. I don't even know what that is, but it's a convertible. And go into some of these rural areas where farms and stuff and barns and all that stuff, and that's where these cars are. It's another picture of that 71 convertible, and I don't see an engine in there. I see some Hemi parts on the ground there, though. That's a Charger picture right there, but you know, that's how you find these cars. I went to world history libraries and looked at old newspaper clippings. You know, Johnny drove the 69 Charger off the bridge, and it went into the water, 69 Hemi Charger. Well, back then, they didn't go get that car, so that car's still sitting down there, and that's what I went and did. Is I went go down, find that car, and pull it out of the water, because that 69 Hemi Charger that wasn't worth a hoot back then is now worth a lot of money, and it's still sitting down there. So these cars are definitely still out there, and yes, it's worth going out there and hunting, and that just You know, build yourself a Sunday, one Sunday a month or something, and devote yourself, pack a lunch, get your map, get your binoculars, have a little bit of money with you, and go look, because these cars are still out there. I don't care that it's 2024. These cars are still out there. And a lot of the people that park these cars, I mean, look at this. This was parked way back in the woods. This Charger was parked way back in the woods, and I found it. 2004, I found this car. Look at that. Look at how buried that car was. But I still found it. Because some of the times, it doesn't even hurt to go on Google Earth, pick an area, start scanning Google Earth. I found a ton of cars doing that. Looking at Google Earth, scanning rural areas and stuff, there's no question. That's how I found a lot of cars. When you go on Google Earth, the actual live view, and you start looking around and stuff, yeah, I'll give you a little something. There was a place a guy had called me about in North Carolina, right near the North Carolina-Virginia border, I believe it was. Told me he had hundreds of Chevelles in the field. SS, convertibles, all kinds of stuff. Go on Google Earth. Do a little bit of research. The reason I didn't go and get those cars is they were so covered in crowbrush, which is, crowbrush is the brush wrapped around these cars. Some people call it kudzu. But they had thorns on that were super poisonous, and I got tired of getting stung by this stuff. But the biggest problem with that area was it was covered with rattlesnakes. And he told me there's rattlesnakes everywhere. He's never even gone out to that field in 20 years. But he said he had hundreds of cars stuffed out in the field, and you can see them. When I went on Google Earth at that time, I found them clear as day. North Carolina, Virginia border, it was near a main highway. Just go look. I'm pretty sure that you're going to find something. A lot of people stuck cars down power lines. Power lines that belong to the city. And they would stick all these cars down there because they knew the city wouldn't remove them. That looks like an H to me. BS23H. There's a rough out 72, 73 CUDA. But you know, these are some of the secrets on how I found some of these cars. I didn't just find the cars that were sitting in people's front yard. The 71 CUDA convertible right there. Not much left of that one. The devout fans that are actually reading and listening to this entire video, I want to keep this going. Look at that CUDA convertible right there. I want to keep this going. These pictures are endless. I got millions of pictures of cars that I found. And I'd rather be doing this than walk out this door every day so people can actually continue my work and find these cars. And I'll give you locations and stuff. It's a 70 Charger RT too. You know, if you can contribute with the Patreon, or you can do with the super thanks, any contribution will help me to keep doing this, because trust me, I spent 20 years in the bush in the field. I devoted my life. I sacrificed 2 marriages. Trust me, this was my world, and it still is my world, and I'm glad to be out of retirement, and I want to share all this stuff with everybody. Here's my devotion to people that are actually watching these videos and listen to the end. You want to find a Superbird? You want to find a Daytona? I'll tell you the secret. Florida. I'll say it again, Florida. There's so many Superbirds and Daytonas down in Florida that it is mind-boggling. You're also going to find a ton of cars in North Carolina. I don't care where in North Carolina you go. If you want to spend some money and take a week away from work, get into North Carolina and go into some rural areas and pay attention. Use binoculars. Map it. These cars are still out there. These guys know what they're kind of worth right now, but they're still out there. Look at that 68 Charger. That thing's solid as can be. And I just found it under one of those little tents the guy you can buy for $200 at AutoZone. And look at it. Rough, but that thing's complete. It's rough, but it's complete. They're all over the place. I'm telling you, these cars are still out there. The tricks of the trade, well, I can't explain everything to everybody, but I'll do a story later on how I got a lot of these cars out. But, you know, look at that $200 AutoZone tent. And the guy decided to cover up that car. We know what that car is. Look at that 68 Charger right there. It doesn't say it's an RT. I don't think it is an RT, but, you know, some people got to start somewhere. They can't afford everything. But I'm telling you, these cars are still out there, because the ones that didn't get crushed in the very beginning, they're still out there. Because nobody wants to deal with them anymore, so they just push them to the back of the property, grandson inherits it. He doesn't want to do anything with the damn car because he doesn't know what to do with it. But there's still us guys out there. God, that 71 was so rough. There's nothing left of that car. But it was a convertible. It's savable. It'll cost a lot of money, but it's savable. You know, these younger generations that are coming up don't know what to do with these cars, so there's a big window there. There's a really big window there for you to find a car. Thanks for coming by Southern Bush Motorsports and checking out Tales from the Bush, and don't forget to look at the Patreon page.